Good afternoon, and thank you for your patience, and I hope all the members enjoyed their lunch. Those that aren't here, you need to get back up here in a timely manner. The Department of Agriculture, thank you so much for your patience with us today, and the Department of Veterans Affairs. You can begin as soon as you're ready.
Good afternoon. Thank you guys for having us. I'm Amara Vigil. Last name is Vigil, as in Larry, for the record. And this is Marko Markovic. We are here to present for the Nevada Department of Agriculture. So we'll just start right into it. Our mission for the Nevada Department of Agriculture is to preserve, protect, and promote Nevada agriculture. We have an annual governor's recommended budget of $351 million in the first year and $298 million in the second, and we have 163.5 full-time employees. We are primarily funded through federal funds, mostly grants. We do about a little less than 10% in fee generation from some of our services, and we only do less than 1% in general funds from you guys. All of our others are transfer and other revenue within the state. We have a large budget in our food and nutrition. It's about a little under $600,000 or $600 million in our food and nutrition, and our next one is plant as our largest budget item. Right now, our current goals are mostly customer focused. We want to really get back to working with the local communities and our partners in agriculture within the state of Nevada and improve our customer service and the public trust. We are hoping to develop some economical opportunities for agriculture within Nevada through local government involvement, through the federal government cooperations, and some communication with the Nevada growers and producers within the state. We are also working on a state-run meat and poultry inspection program, which is a very hot point item within our producers and our range producers here in the state. So we are hoping to get that program off and running this coming fiscal year. Some of our major challenges, as you guys have heard today and probably from a lot of the other departments within the state, are vacancies within our agency. We're a little over 15% on our vacancy rate at the moment, and so that's something we're really working on trying to get through the organization and get really quality employees within our agency. We also would like to start working on our fiscal checks and balances. One of our primary goals is to make sure that we are fiscally responsible to the state of Nevada and working on strengthening those checks and balances and getting up to GAAP policies. And we also want to encourage more employees to do training plans within all of our positions, especially some of our more specialized positions within the agencies and our plant, animal, and food and nutrition areas. We have 3 major offices within the state of Nevada. Our headquarters is in Sparks. We have an office in Elko, and we also have an office in Las Vegas. We do answer or have a board. It's the Nevada Board of Agriculture. It was created by NRS, and we have 13 members, all of who are members of Nevada Agriculture and work and produce Nevada agriculture. We do work off of divisions. So we do have the Division of Administrative Services, and I'm going to go by first name so I don't insult anybody today. Our director, JJ. We have a deputy director, Jerry, and myself as the administrator for admin services. We have the Division of Animal Industry, which is Administrator Doug Ferris. We have Division of Food and Nutrition, which is an interim administrator, Patricia, and we are also without an administrator, so she is the deputy administrator at the moment. We also have a Division of Measurement Standards, which is interim administrator Bill. He is the interim and deputy administrator as well. Division of Plant and Health Compliance is Administrator Ashley with Deputy Administrator Megan. For Division of Admin Services, this is where we have all of our centralized budgeting, payroll, information technology, and communication, and we work to do our economic development functions. So that program that we stated earlier, the meat and poultry inspection program, is centralized within admin services, as well as some other cool programs like the Craft Beverage Passport to work with producers of beverages in the state. I'll dig into some enhancements as we go through the divisions, just so you guys have an idea of what we're looking for today. we are asking for a new administrative assistant in the Las Vegas office. This person will be primarily focused on our front desk services and helping the public with providing information, taking samples for inspections, bug samples for our entomology program and our plant pathology program. This currently is funded by Marathon Staffing. And so we do have somebody in that position, but we are looking for a full-time position. We also are asking in the Admin Services Department for fleet service vehicles. Currently, we have 3 fleet vehicles in there. I will highlight that the Dodge Ram is a 2002 with 115,000 miles, and all of them kind of fall within that area. So just to keep in mind, these are older vehicles and have reached their end of life. Division of Animal Industry is primarily focused on protecting livestock and public health through animal disease, protection of theft and loss of livestock, and unfair business practices. They have quite a few budget accounts under them, mainly focusing on the protection of livestock, as mentioned, and enforcement of livestock policies within the state and laws. We do have agricultural police officers within this organization, which are really tasked with going out and making sure that our livestock here in the state is protected. There are some division enhancements we are requesting within this area. We have our administrator, Doug. He is currently about $11,000 under in pay from all other administrators within the department. And so we are requesting that we bring him up to the standard as all other administrators in the department. We are also asking for an additional deputy administrator within that division. They are highly tasked and highly centralized in what they do. They have to be certified in law enforcement so that they can manage our law enforcement officers. And there's quite a significant amount of programs within this department. And so we're asking for a little assistance within this department on the management side of things. We also need some additional fleet vehicles in this division. Unfortunately, most of our fleet vehicles that we're asking to replace in this budget item are due for replacement. They're as old as our Dodge Ram in administration, so we're asking that. If you'll see in our presentation, we do have an error in our budget submittal where we asked for all of the money in fiscal year 2024 instead of 2025. We would like to keep that vehicle through the budget cycle, so if we could keep that in mind as we go through this. And then secondly, we are asking for our law enforcement officers to have that increase as Governor Lombardo has requested. Division of Food and Nutrition is a major program within our department. We feed underserved Nevadans through children, seniors, tribal communities, and other populations in need. And we do the administration and oversight for the USDA within Nevada. Some of the programs, and I think we all know about universal lunches and breakfast and stuff for kids, but we also have some really awesome programs that service all other areas. We have the Child and Adult Care Food Program, which is an entitlement program that provides nutritious meals and snacks to children in after-school daycare programs as well as adults in adult daycare programs. We have Fresh Fruit and Vegetable Program, which will, it provides fresh fruit and vegetables purchased from producers within the state of Nevada and provides them to elementary schools so that they get a taste of good, consumable fresh fruits and produce. And the last one is the Senior Farmers Market Nutrition Program, which I think is kind of a cool program. They provide coupon books and a $50 amount to low-income seniors so they can go to farmers markets and purchase good fruits and vegetables. We have the Division of Measurement Standards, and there were no, we are not asking for any enhancements in the Division of Food and Nutrition this year. Division of Measurement Standards. This one was kind of a cool program. I'm new with the department, so I thought this was a neat little program to learn about and understand the Division of Measurement Standards. And they do quite a bit of different things between petroleum technology and weight and measures program for the state of Nevada, which ensures fair competition for industry and equity between buyers. A lot of their programs focus around petroleum technology, where they do samples of fuel products such as gasoline and diesel, which are collected from retailers across the state, and then they measure them to make sure that they are adopted to the standards of the state and federal standards so that they can ensure that what goes into our vehicles and other areas are up to standard and meet those qualifications. We are asking for a few enhancements within this division. A large number of requested items for new purchases, which are equipment items to enhance our labs and our field work. One of the major ones is a model 2014 heavy-duty pickup truck replacement. They use this to tow equipment that's used in inspections out in the field. And we are also asking for a skid steer tractor to go along with that. That is used to measure livestock out in the field and such. So we need some heavy-duty quality things. They carry huge amounts of weights out there so that they have that quality, and our current trucks are at end of life. Another enhancement we're asking for is analytical equipment. The analytical equipment, refractometers, is one of, they're both used in the Sparks and Las Vegas lab, and they test diesel fuel emissions, which is a new program that was done in the 81st legislative session in 2021 that will require us to go out and test diesel fuel emissions within the area. And then we have an annual preventative maintenance program where we would like to be able to just double check and make sure that all of our equipment is going, and this is an ongoing program within the department. Our last one is waste disposal contract with the Clean Harbors Lab. It's we test all of these products. We get samples of diesel, gasoline, lubricating oils, and they come into our labs, and we need a place to dispose of them in an ecological manner, and this is what that contract is for. Division of Plant Health and Compliance is we protect the plant health of Nevada and test and monitor for diseases and invasive species within Nevada. This program has some really cool programs as well. One of the big ones is Noxious Weed Program. It helps to mitigate entities to be protected in prevention, control, and management of invasive species, weed species, and they do residential as well as crop species. And out on public lands as well. We do a pest control program, which licenses and monitors all pest control compliance and individual statewide for compliance with state and federal laws. So we make sure that all of pest companies who come and spray for bugs in your house are certified and compliant within those pest control areas. We have a few enhancements within this. The first one we would like to request is the International Organization for Standardization for our hemp lab. Currently, there is quite a bit of regulation within the state of Nevada and throughout the country for hemp and THC concentration. And we are looking to just make sure that our lab meets those compliances, and this will ensure that. We do want maintenance contracts for chemistry equipment if possible. This will keep our chemistry and lab equipment up to date. Currently, our lab equipment is somewhat old, and we have to have on-site maintenance. It's not something you can take out of the lab and have fixed. So it's good to have a contract and have somebody come in and fix those chemistry equipment. Our final one is our Noxious Weed Program vehicle replacement. This is where we would request that a new vehicle to go out, and it's an addition to another one, vehicle that we have in our fleet that will go out and do weed-free certification inspections and that. We tried to make it short and sweet for you guys since it's been a long day, I'm sure. Our contact information is here as well as all of the other administrators' contact and the director and deputy director. And we'll answer any questions you guys have for us.
Thank you. You did a great job. You didn't have to speed through, but you did a great job. We appreciate it. I do have a few questions. We'll start with my vice chair, and then we will go to Senator Gokachia.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. I want to go back to it's BA 4551, E227, the Standardization Laboratory Assessment and Inspection.
Sure.
So when you check the THC. Can you tell me a little bit about, like, how that happens? Like the system calendar, if you will? Like, how does that happen?
My understanding, I'm sorry, I'm Mara V. Hill for the record. My understanding is we get samples in from each producer of the seeds. They bring them into the lab and we do that check. So it's a very technical area and it has to be done before crops actually go to be harvested. And so it's a very technical, very time-consuming and very time-sensitive process. And that is all done through collection of those samples, either brought into us or out in the field.
The reason one of the reasons I was asking is because I remember just recently, and I don't know if this falls under this purview and time frame, but I remember just recently in the newspaper or in the news somewhere, I heard about the plants that were treated with some kind of a chemical that they weren't supposed to be treated with, and I was just wondering where that fits in that time frame.
You know what? Let me get that answer for you
Okay.
and we'll get back to
Sure.
you on that one.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Senator Gokachia?
Thank you, Madam Chair. The metrology lab in Las Vegas. Now, last session, they were talking about closing that, transporting all of the samples to the north. Is it open? Are you still running it?
Amara V. Hill for the record, yes. As of right now, we are currently running that lab. In fact, we have equipment going down there so that we can start doing EV testing throughout that lab.
So it will continue to be open?
Yes.
Thank you, because I was concerned about that. And then just following along kind of the lines of Vice Chair Loop, I know you test hemp, and of course the 5-day time frame, you've got to go get it. Do you test cannabis as well? You're responsible for monitoring it, do you, or at least planning it, so I was just curious.
That is a question I'm not positive on. Amara V. Hill for the record. I will get that answer to you, though.
All right, thank you so much. I'm done, man.
All right. Assemblywoman Peters.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I had a question, but I can't remember what it was.
That's okay. I'll come back to you. I'll come back to you.
Sorry, okay.
That's fine.
Thank you.
Senator Titus.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll go slow so Assemblywoman Peters can come up with that question. I appreciate what you're doing. Thank you very much. My question's along the same line as Senator Gokachia's regarding hemp and then the cannabis industry and the separation of those. Wondering if you can share with us, and it can be after this office to all committee members, how many acres we have in hemp production at this time. And I know the critical timeline, we have them in my community, in my valleys, and when you have to go and certify them prior to harvesting and some of these issues. And so I'm just wondering about what the uptick has been in hemp farming, perhaps their water usage, and then versus our cannabis industry and how many acres and what that looks like in the state, and better overview. Send it to all of us. I'm sure we would be interested in that. Thank you.
Absolutely. We will definitely get that information to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. By chance, did you remember what your question was? All right, Assemblywoman Peters.
Thank you. I'm sorry. Post-lunch fatigue, maybe? Okay, my question is related to some federal funds that are available through the Department of Agriculture at the federal level related to rural electrification, and it's very specifically niched into agricultural production and rural communities. Are you guys doing anything with that grant? Are you looking at how your office can facilitate, or are you working with the Department of Energy in the state to try and leverage those federal dollars that are available?
Amara V. Hill for the record. I'm going to pass this on to Margo, who is our grant expert within the department, and see if he has any answers. I do know that we work with the EPA. I'm not specific on the grants. Margo.
Thank you. Thank you for the question, Assemblywoman Peters. Mark Markovich for the record. Currently, we do not have that grant available to us. We can definitely look into it and respond back with some feedback and update when we would be able to apply for that grant, or get information from our Department of Energy and see if they can help facilitate that, and what we can do to help them implement that program and use the funds.
Thank you. I appreciate that follow-up. I think that it's in line with some of the priorities from the chair in previous sessions around community microgrids and setting up resiliency in our communities, not just in our urban areas, but our rural areas. So I'd be interested to see if we have any opportunities to take on those kinds of programs in the state.
Of course, we'll let you know. Thank you.
Thank you. Members, any other questions? Assemblywoman Dickman?
Thank you, Chair. Just a quick question. Under, for example, 4551 E711, it's a vehicle replacement, but the dollar amounts are so low. How do you replace vehicles for those dollars? What kind of vehicles are they?
Amara Vigil, for the record, we're actually going through the state's lease program, so we will be leasing vehicles rather than purchasing them outright as owned by the department. So they are lease quotes within the budget.
And same on the other vehicle?
All of them, yes.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I want to go shopping where you shop.
Me too.
Senator Neal?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I just had a question on the slide 8 on the global trade development. How much are you spending, and particularly on that, and what countries are you engaged with, and what are you exchanging?
We're going to look that up right now for you, if you can give us 1 minute. We will get back to you on that one with those countries. I apologize.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
You're welcome. Senator Gansert?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I was thinking during the Sandoval administration that school lunches and the food programs were moved to the Department of Ag. And when K through 12 was in here the other day, there were a number of questions around the quality of food and the type of food and so forth. And I remember there were some efforts so that you didn't have pressed chicken nuggets. It was like real chicken. And can you talk a little bit about that and how we can better improve the food to our children? And they did mention that they do, not polling, that they ask the kids how they like it, and they're always trying to improve it. But I know the source is through your department. So could you talk a little bit about that? Thank you.
Absolutely. Amara Vigil, for the record. All of our programs for national school lunches, whether it's universal school lunches, breakfast, or lunch, are entitlement programs. So we receive the funds, we pass those through sub-awards, and they go and they purchase the foods. We do have programs that are specific for purchasing Nevada agriculture and fruit and vegetables, as highlighted. But those programs that are for school lunches and programs are through those pass-throughs. So the school purchases the lunches and reimburses them. The school is required through federal to meet standards within those. So the sub-awards or the awards are specific on what produce or what they can buy, but it doesn't strictly strict them to processed chicken nuggets or real chicken nuggets, as far as I know.
Thank you. That's helpful. So it still ends up being within the school districts themselves
Exactly.
and not
Yes.
really not at the state level. It's more at the school district level?
Yes, very
Okay.
much.
Thank you.
Okay, seeing no other questions, I will once again thank you for your patience with our committee today, and thank you for the presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So members, that brings us up to our very last presentation, budget briefing for the day, and that will be the Department of Veteran Services. Welcome. Good to see you.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair. If you'll give us just a minute, they did not have this uploaded, so we are plugging in right now, and we'll get started as quickly as possible.
No problem. Take your time. And whenever you're ready, you can just go ahead and get started.
Madam Chair, I guess we're ready, and I'll get started with your permission. Thank you. Thank you, Chairman Moreno and Chair Dondero Loop, and members of the Legislative Commission's Budget Subcommittee for this opportunity to present the Nevada Department of Veterans Services proposed biennium budget. My name is Fred Wager, and I am the director for the department. And with me today are Deputy Directors Evan Rush and Deputy Director Vivian Ruiz, as well as my Chief Financial Officer and computer programmer, our Chief Financial Officer, Joe Thiele. And behind me is also our IT manager, Brandon Torres, who's here just in case there's any questions on our IT requests. I will tell you that our team is fairly new. With the previous director retiring last year, I became the director in May 1st. Was honored to be appointed to that position, and I was reappointed in January just last month, so I appreciate that very much. Next slide. Our vision is to ensure that Nevada veterans, service members, and dependents understand and can connect to the benefits and services they have earned. This slide lays out our vision, mission, and 7 major lines of effort to accomplish this mission. I know you have this slide presentation, so I'm not going to go line by line on that. I do want to talk about our programs. NDVS continues to grow our programs. This year, NDVS celebrates its 80th birthday, so we're very happy to be here. As you can see in the upper left, since 1943, NDVS has established many programs, with 2 additional programs added in 2022, which are noted on the bottom right. The first, the Crombie Academy at the Southern Nevada State Veterans Home, where we educate individuals on becoming certified nursing assistants, including state testing to become certified. This increases the number of CNAs within the state. The second is the Youth Serving Veterans Recognition Program to recognize young people who are assisting veterans in Nevada. If this was started through the Veterans Service Commission, in addition to the Veteran of the Month and Veteran Supporter of the Month programs, where we recognize them. Next slide. These NDVS goals come straight from our strategic plan. Annually, NDVS reviews our goals and the steps we've taken to reach those goals and what we can do to further our service to the veterans in the state. And I forgot to ask Ms. Chair if it's okay if I can just go right through and then you can ask questions at the end if you want questions.
Yes, that will be fine. Thank you.
Thank you. So the next slide is major issues facing NDVS in this biennium. We have several issues facing our department. Staffing issues, and I think everybody we've heard talk today has mentioned staffing issues due to insufficient salaries competing with outside entities. This is especially true with our CNAs at the nursing homes and our grounds people at the cemeteries. We just had interviewed 3 people for the cemetery down south in Boulder City last week. All 3 of them found out what the wage was and said, no thanks, I can make more at McDonald's than I can here digging graves. So it's a concern I know from every department. Our aging irrigation systems and increased water costs continue to be an issue at our cemeteries. Our aging Southern Nevada Veterans Memorial Cemetery Chapel is in need of roof repairs. Our superintendent and the supervisor of the outside staff have been actually going up on the roof and making repairs on their own, so we need to move forward on that. Vehicle replacement, we are going to need a replacement vehicle, and we did not request it in this budget, but we will need to be replacing that vehicle. That one is not being used, or we don't have it because we weren't using it enough during the pandemic, didn't get enough miles on, so we had to turn it back in. So we are going to be asking for that in the future. We also have some ADA issues ADA compliant doors that go from the main facility at the Northern Home in Sparks to the residential areas. They are currently push doors, and of course, if you're in a wheelchair, it makes it really hard to get out of that area or into it if the doors are closed. And so we're looking at making those ADA compliant, as well as the front door at the administrative building in the Northern Cemetery that is not ADA compliant. It has no button on it, and so somebody else to help somebody if they're in a wheelchair. And so we will be addressing that issue as well. Both would allow wheelchair access. Next slide. As you can see by this slide, nearly 70% of our veterans live in southern Nevada, primarily Clark County. However, it is NDVS's responsibility to continually reach out to all of our veterans throughout the state. As our World War II, Korean, and Vietnam War veterans age, it is more important than ever to ensure we are providing them with the resources they need. The Gulf War veterans, like myself, are now the largest population of veterans in the state. With all the changes in federal regulations, especially from the Department of Veterans Affairs, including the recently passed PACT Act, we must meet the challenge of ensuring all these veterans receive every benefit they have earned. I'd like to talk about our revenue. The funds to operate our programs come from many sources. However, the primary source of funds is received from operations at our veterans' home, shown in blue, and our cemeteries, shown in the purple area. These funds include VA, Medicare, Medicaid, and only 6% of our total budget comes from general funds. As an overview, NDVS has 3 executive budget accounts. 2560, which includes headquarters staff, our veteran service officers, cemetery staff, and outreach programs. 2561, which supports the Southern Nevada State Veterans Home in Boulder City. And 2569, which supports the Northern Nevada State Veterans Home in Sparks. Our total FTE is 259.49. This includes 9 members of the Veterans Service Commission who are not paid a salary. The general fund request over this biennium is $8,914,807. I want to start out with budget account 2560. We have 7 enhancements that we are requesting for 2560. As background, budget account 2560 supports 69 FTE, which includes the 9 VSC members. 2560 accounts for approximately 89% of our total general budget. The first enhancement, E225, requests funds for travel for the Director and Deputy Director of Benefits to attend the National Association of State Directors of Veterans Affairs Summer Conference. NASDVA is the Association of State Directors of Veterans Affairs, and members represent all 50 states, the District of Columbia, American Samoa, Guam, Northern Mariana Islands, and Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands. Nationally, NASDVA is the second largest provider of service to veterans. Attendance at these conferences provide both the Deputy Director and myself with the opportunity to collaborate and share best practices with our counterparts, and enables the state to better position itself to bring in more federal grants and resources to help our active duty veterans and their families. Nevada has received 5 of the awards that you see on the left. These are the Abraham Lincoln Pillar of Excellence Awards for best practices, and the last one we had that we submitted that won an award was last year, and that was the Ask a VSO program, where people can go to our website, click on a button, ask a question, and get a response from our veteran service officers. E226 is a request that funds 2 additional grounds maintenance workers at the Southern Nevada Veterans Memorial Cemetery. This position's primary focus is installing, repairing, and maintaining the cemetery's irrigation system. The duties to maintain the grounds are numerous and include mowing, trimming, fertilizing, and much more. And in 5 days, on 6 February, an expansion of the Southern Nevada Veterans Memorial Cemetery begins. We just had the groundbreaking on last Wednesday. This adds 5 acres and over 10,000 interment sites. These positions are critical to help an already overworked staff at the second busiest state cemetery in the nation. Each year, slide you on. Okay. Each year, funds are needed for in-state travel. E227 requests funds to travel for the director and deputy director of benefits between Las Vegas and Reno. Previously, it was between Reno and Las Vegas because the previous director lived up here in the north. I happen to work out of the Grant Sawyer building in Las Vegas, along with my deputy director of benefits. We come up here for meetings with veterans organizations, veteran centers, agencies, and one-on-one meetings with staff as well. Next slide. This is our largest enhancement request. It is for 5 individuals. This request funds 5 critically needed positions, 2 healthcare specialists, 2 education and information officers, and 1 veteran service officer. The first healthcare specialist will serve as the Veterans Healthcare Program Manager. This position is responsible for the Nevada Department of Veterans Services healthcare initiatives, including the Healthcare Champion Program, which came out of AB 300 in 2019. This educates medical and mental health professionals on the unique healthcare needs of veterans and the benefits available to them. This program manages also the Veterans in Care program. This is a recognition ceremony that is hosted at skilled nursing and assisted living facilities throughout the state. Veterans are recognized for their continued service to their country and receive a Nevada Department of Veterans Services program information briefing on benefits, a certificate, and a Nevada Heroes commemorative pin. The second healthcare specialist, that position will be the Suicide Prevention Program Manager and will be responsible for all aspects of the program, including the Governor's Challenge and the Mayor's Challenges throughout the state to provide prevent suicide among service members, veterans, and their families, and education initiatives such as partnering with the Office of Suicide Prevention to promote training such as ASSIST, Safe Talk, and Suicide Prevention 101. In the past year, Mayor's Challenges expanded to communities of Winnemucca and Elko. According to the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs Suicide Data Sheet 2021, 126 veterans died by suicide in Nevada in 2021, with a 19.8% rate compared to the total number of suicides during that same time. In 2021, the national average of veteran suicide compared to total number of suicide was only 12.9. The veteran suicide rate in Nevada was significantly higher than the national veteran suicide rate. This position will help fill a very critical need. Next slide. The first education, I'm sorry, go back to the other slide. I have 2 pages, sorry. The first education and information officer position will serve as the Northern Outreach Director. An outreach director has been present in Southern Nevada since 2014. This position was responsible for outreach to veterans throughout the entire state of Nevada. Because of the need for additional outreach in northern and eastern Nevada, a contract employee was hired in 2017 to ensure veterans throughout the state were being included in outreach activities and information. With the addition of this contract employee, NDVS has nearly doubled its outreach capabilities, as one person stationed in Las Vegas was previously unable to provide the outreach needed in communities such as Reno, Sparks, Winnemucca, Elko, Ely, Fernley, Fallon, Carson City, Hawthorne, Yerington, and all the other small communities in the north. The second Education and Information Officer position will serve as the Education and Employment Program Manager. An Education Employment Program Manager has been present in Southern Nevada since 2017. This position is responsible for providing veterans, service members, and eligible family members with resources to obtain and maintain employment and have knowledge of education benefits and programs. A contract employee was hired because of the need of transitioning service members to have resources at their disposal. With the Nevada Transition Assistance Program that was codified into Nevada Revised Statute in 2021, this position is critical to ensure this program is run efficiently in the state. And the last position under this enhancement is the Veteran Service Officer 1 position. This is needed in response to the passage of the 2022 PACT Act. I'm sure everybody's heard of the PACT Act, but just so you know what it is the promise and a promise to address comprehensive toxics. For instance, Agent Orange in Vietnam and the lung issues that we're getting out of the Gulf War. This act, the act expands presumptive disabilities, VA care, and benefits to veterans suffering from more than 20 toxic exposure-related conditions, resulting in an increase in complex benefits and claims being filed on behalf of veterans. Next slide. Next slide is, this request funds the Adopt a Vet Dental. I know everybody's probably heard of Adopt a Vet Dental, and so we are asking that we be provided unrestricted support for continued sustainable funding to provide critical dental care services for low-income veterans throughout the state of Nevada. As you may know, this originated out of Reno, and it has now expanded to Las Vegas and has become very huge in the veterans community and provides to those eligible veterans. This request, E710, is one-shot appropriation. This request funds replacement computer hardware, and associated software per Enterprise Information Technology Services, or as everybody knows as EATS. This is recommended replacement schedule that is past useful life expectancy. The next one is E720, another one-shot appropriation. This request funds IT peripherals that are not on the replacement schedule, such as cables, power adapters, etc. Replacement of failing cables and power adapters and other peripherals are a normal function in an office environment. The second of three budget accounts that I will cover is Budget Account 2561, associated with the Southern Nevada State Veterans Home. The team at the home provides 24-hour skilled nursing care in a 180-bed facility for eligible veterans and spouses of veterans and Gold Star parents. This account supports 185.49 FTE. And is funded by federal, private, and other revenue. We have 10 proposed enhancements for this biennium. E225 requests funds for storm wind training for 4 IT professionals. IT professionals have many varied responsibilities. Cross-training of this team is essential to the successful operation of the department. They are required to be troubleshooting experts. To be successful, they must have access to quality training. The Stormwood training would provide IT professionals with access to the latest software and its interactions with other common devices. The program is designed so that the student also gains an understanding of how to avoid common pitfalls, and they will learn important workarounds. This is an online learning platform and comes with a full calendar of live, instructor-led class events every month for the entire one-year term, and 24/7 access to all instant replays that are constantly refreshed and our HD video recordings of the live class session. It also provides certification practice exams, labs, mentoring support for every course, and downloadable student guides and more. E226 requests funds for preventive electrical maintenance on case circuit breakers. We were advised by the Center of Medicare and Medicaid, CMS, during our last survey that this is a requirement to have circuit breakers inspected annually. Since it's a requirement, this enhancement would fulfill that requirement. E227, this requests funds for one annual life software license for a data housing platform. E228, this request funds a subscription for a quality management system that allows quality assurance and performance indicator plan and facility assessment tools, reporting, monitoring, and support services. E350, this request funds TIPA Snow Dementia Training. I know that's an unusual name, but that's actually the person's name. This is for nursing staff to better understand their patients and their changing needs. This request also funds intravenous IV certifications for LPNs. Training will allow LPNs to administer IVs, which will allow for this service to be provided timely and will eliminate the need for and the cost of an outside vendor for these services. E352, this request funds the Deputy Director of Healthcare Services, the Administrator, and the Director of Nursing of the Home to attend the National Association of State Veterans Home Annual Training Conference. The National Association of State Veterans Homes' primary mission is to promote and enhance the quality of care and life of veterans and families in the state veterans' homes through education, networking, and advocacy. Attendance at these conferences provides the Deputy Director, Administrator, and Director of Nursing with the opportunity to openly communicate with their counterparts and discuss best practices and actions to effectively provide the best care and services to the veterans of our veterans' home. E710 requests funds to replace computer hardware and associated software per each recommended replacement schedule that is past its useful life expectancy. This is the same as budget account 2560. E711 this request replaces equipment for resident comfort and safety. Replacement of equipment at or past useful life expectancy is necessary to avoid disruption to services and operations. This request includes items as simple as vacuums, resident televisions, wet vacs, buffers, refrigerators, and more critical items such as nurse call CPUs and master console. This request also includes flooring replacement of various areas throughout the building that are in need of repair. E720, this decision funds IT equipment to include the Logitech video conference system for use in the town hall, conference rooms, and the administrator's office. Security upgrades including identification card readers, key fobs, and universal dual security kiosk, and a projector system to use in the memory care wing to allow those residents a greater opportunity to participate in activities. It also includes equipment for resident comfort and safety, such as shower chairs, mattresses, patient lifts, and vital machines. E730 requests funds the installation of backflow preventers in 10 janitorial water closets as required by VA survey. I had to ask this question. What is it? It is the backflow preventer is a device that's installed between the cold water and the chemical dispenser, so chemicals don't flow back into the water system. According to the VA, we haven't been able to show that that's ever happened. So we're going to install it anyway because the VA said we had to. If we get the funding, sorry. Next slide is regarding our budget account, and this is our last budget account, 2569, and this has to do with the Northern Nevada State Veterans Home. This home provides 24-hour skilled nursing care in a 96-bed state skilled nursing care facility. This account supports 5 FTE and is funded by general fund and federal revenue. We are requesting 5 enhancements for this account. Enhancement 226, this request funds a veteran service officer, as we did in 2560. This veteran service officer position, however, will aid residents in the home and other veterans with connecting to the benefits they have earned. As mentioned before, a veteran service officer is needed in response to the passage of the 2022 PACT Act, and that act expanded the presumptive conditions recognized by the VA for toxic exposure-related conditions. E710. This request is a one-shot. The request for replacement of computer hardware and associated software per EAT's recommended replacement schedule that is past useful life expectancy. Replacement of this equipment is necessary to avoid any disruption in operations and services. E720, this request is for IT peripherals that are not on the replacement schedule, such as cables and power adapters, etc. Replacements of these peripherals are a normal function in an office environment. E730, this is for 8 janitorial water closets, again, the backflow preventers, according to the VA. E731, this request is asking for funds to widen the one interior door. The interior door to the physical therapy workout room at the Northern Nevada State Veterans Home needs to be widened as it is too narrow for larger wheelchairs and motorized scooters to get through safely. The width of these larger than normal wheelchairs and motorized scooters was not a factor considered when the planning and schematic phase of the construction took place several years ago. As you can see in the picture, it's a pretty tight fit, and you can see the scratches on the door as they came inside. Chair Monroe Moreno and Chair Dundaro Loop and members of this Legislative Commission's subcommittee, thank you again for the opportunity to present our overview of the Nevada Department of Veterans Services FY 24-25 proposed biennium budget, and I stand ready for questions. Remember, I'm new.
That's no excuse. Thank you so much for the presentation, and we do have a few questions for you. We're going to start with Senator Gokachia.
Oh, thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Wagner, VSOs are always an issue in the state of Nevada, especially in rural Nevada. We struggle with it. You know, it's a long ways for them. But can you tell me approximately how many veteran service officers you have today?
Director Wagner, for the record, from the chair to Senator Gokachia, currently we have 15 FTE throughout the state, and we have VSOs in Elko, Winnemucca, Fallon, Reno, Las Vegas, and Pahrump, as well as one at the VA Medical Center here in Reno and one at the Boulder City home.
Do you have any vacant VSO positions?
I believe we have one in Las Vegas currently, and that's
Okay.
just being filled.
But you're only asking, as I look at this, for 2 more.
We're asking one for the north for the veterans home. The other one will likely, I can't say, we want to hire best throughout the state, and but we do have a need for one at the northern vast headquarters, the Veteran Advocacy Support Team's headquarters here in Reno.
Right. Thank you so much. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Senator Titus had a question, but she's not there.
She did tell me earlier she may have to leave early.
She did. Any other members with questions? Dang. Okay, we're going to do Assemblywoman Peters, then Senator Neal, and then Senator Harris.
Mine is going to be quick. The backflow preventers. I wish this came through IFC so we could get you that immediately, because it is not great to have chemicals going back into our water system. So can you give me a rationale for why not bring that to IFC rather than here?
Director Wagner, for the record, through the chair to Assemblywoman Peters. I will tell you that it's actually not an emergency because we haven't been able to prove that water flows backward when the cold water pressure is going that way anyway. And so it is not considered an emergency situation even from the VA. So that's why we haven't brought it through the IFC. Thank you.
Have you talked to the water providers about that?
Director Wagner, for the record, I have not. But
I would encourage that, because this could be a bigger problem than it seems to be. I would just encourage that we consider this to be problematic and do a little bit more digging, and if you need to come to IFC, let us know.
Thank you for that.
Senator Harris.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I noticed that a couple of new buildings are going to be constructed, and I just want to confirm those will be ADA compliant.
Director Wagner, for the record, through the chair to Senator Harris, yes, in our CIP budget, we are asking for new, and we will ensure that everything, in fact, the architect has brought that up, that everything will be in compliance.
Thank you. And in that same vein, the doors will be wide enough?
Yes.
Okay. One last question. The building in North Las Vegas that we're giving a portion of the money to, I noticed there's an other section with, I think, about $10 million or so. Do you know if North Las Vegas will be contributing any funds to the development of that building?
Director Wagner, for the record, through the chair to Senator Harris, we don't have any information that North Las Vegas will be contributing. If anybody has an in there, please help us out. We do. I'm sorry. We do anticipate there is going to be a little additional cost because first of all, the North Las Vegas, in case you didn't know, the North Las Vegas VA Medical Center has offered land for free, about 17 acres, for the construction of a state veterans home on their campus. And so we're very happy and pleased with that offer. The building is the home is looking at being in the northeast corner of the campus and would have its own entrance, but that road is going to have to be developed on the outside of that fence. So we're just getting started on the planning, and so that's what we're asking for now is the planning dollars. And a good question, and I'll be sure to follow up on that.
Thanks so much.
Thank you,
Madam Chair.
You're so welcome. There may be a few members here that can help with that. Senator Neal.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you for, sharing the lack of information on planning dollars. But I have a different question. So for the medical equipment that you guys have on page 26, it's under your E720. I was wondering what kind of a medical equipment you're intending on purchasing?
Director Weiger, for the record, I'm trying to see exactly where the medical equipment.
So if you look on page 26, under your E720, it says projector system, medical equipment, and equipment for resident comfort. I know, it takes those extra reading classes.
Director Weiger, for the record, through the chair to Senator O'Neill, I have a list, thanks to my chief financial officer. PVC shower chair, full body lift with scale, vitals machine with stand, standing lift, bariatric air mattresses, Arjo shower chair, bladder scanner with tablet and cart, medical mannequin for training, medical grade bed, healthcare subscriptions, some iPad, universal dual security kiosk, the I mentioned the cards before, the ID badge. That's not those aren't necessarily medical, but they do play into it. The badge scanners to keep people safe, and on-guard server software licensing, et cetera.
So just a quick follow-up. So on the shower chair and some of the equipment that you mentioned, I know that Medicare covers some of those items. So why are you covering? Because typically veterans have their veterans insurance, but they could have Medicare. You could choose either one in order to offset cost. And I know shower chair is one of the things that are covered under their veteran insurance as well as Medicare. So why would the state foot the bill for these items?
As one, Director Weiger, for the record, as one of my predecessors did, I'm going to call a friend and ask my chief financial officer to address that.
Joe Thiele, for the record, T as in Tom, Heile. Not everybody has Medicare. When it comes to the home, there's Medicare, hospice, Medicaid, VA reimbursement. So this is just standard equipment that's needed. Some of the shower chairs are more expensive. Some are heavier than others that are needed. So it's not provided through Medicaid I'm aware of. We do get reimbursement through Medicaid and Medicare depending on the resident.
But it is provided within the veterans insurance, though. I only know this because I had a recent interaction with veterans insurance related to an outpatient situation, and they were trying to see what was covered, and that was only one of the things that was covered was shower chair. I mean, they couldn't get a raised toilet, but they could get a shower chair, and they were like, it operates as both. Use the shower chair, raise it up, and then use it as a raised toilet as well.
Are they in a private residence? Joe Thiele, for the record.
They're in a private residence.
That might be the difference because I'm unaware of us ever receiving any type of equipment through Medicaid or Medicare. We get reimbursed for if they have that for whatever services we provide.
So, and then this just leads me to my final question. Do you at all, is there any crossover with aging and disability and any kind of services that they may cover on their end that may be a gap coverage in aging and disability for the veterans that you're taking care of? And also any services that might be in GovChaw, right, around prescription and some other things that you might be, that veterans may be eligible for in other state agencies?
Great question.
We will find out.
Oh,
Director Weiger, for the record, we will look into that. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Madam Chair.
thank you.
Assemblywoman Brown-May.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you for the presentation. I just have one question clarifying. On slide 29, as you're looking for the Veteran Services Officer position, you noted that you are providing aid for veterans in the home. I'm just wondering if you could clarify that. Is that service officer, the veteran service officer, intended to go out and serve veterans literally in their home, or is it something you're doing remotely?
Director Weiger, through the chair to Assemblywoman Brown-May. I appreciate the question, and it's in the home, so it's in the veterans' home. That's where they'll reside, that's where their office will be, and then other veterans can come in as well. But we want somebody in there, so as soon as somebody comes into the residence, we make sure that they're getting all the benefits they're entitled to. So I apologize for the confusion.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Members, any other questions? I just had one. Going back to the facility in North Las Vegas, will that be near the Fisher House that's currently there?
Director Wagner, for the record, thank you for the question, ma'am. Yes, it'd be right to the, if you're looking at the Fisher House, it'll be off to the right. And so it's right across the parking lot from the Fisher House.
Perfect. Thank you. We'll see no other questions for our members. I thank you all for the presentation. And thank you for
ma'am.
hanging out with us all day. So, members, that brings us to the last item on today's agenda, and that will be our second and last period of public comment. As a reminder, due to time constraints, we ask that each person providing public comment leave their comments to just 2 minutes. And remember to state and spell your name for the record before making your statement. If you're calling in to provide your public comment, please dial 669-900-6833. The meeting ID for today is 824-4153-6038, and then press pound. We will start here in Carson City. If there's anyone here in the audience that would like to make public comment, I invite you down to the table. I don't see anyone in Las Vegas, but if there happens to be someone there behind the pole, I invite you to come up to the table there, and then we will go to our telephone lines. So is there anyone here in Carson City that would like to make public comment? Looks like everyone's ready to go home. Okay, see none. And I do not see anyone in Las Vegas, so I will ask our BPS staff, do we have anyone on the phone lines who would like to make public comment?
Thank you, Chair. Your public line is open and working, but there are no callers at this time.
All right. Well, members, that will be it for today. I thank everyone for participating. Sorry that we ran a little long on some of the presentations. I will see you all back here tomorrow at 8:30 a.m. And this meeting is adjourned.